We are back.
Lock it in.
Huh?
Lock it in.
Oh, I'm always
You lock it
brother. We are on episode 9. We actually sent a prompt at the end of, or the beginning and the tail end of last week's episode talking about logos and what the name of the podcast could be. You'd think 9 episodes in, we'd have some clarity on what we're actually going to, but I think it's like a running bit now. Two thieves in a pod. Our man Zeke's, he's always in my chat. He's bought like every apparel drop that's ever existed in 100 Thieves.
Dude, shout out Zeke's.
I actually didn't mind it, dude. It had our 2 floating heads, 2 thieves in a pod. I think it's a play on the phrase 2 peas in a pod. Not bad.
I like the color scheme too.
Yeah, it was kind of like a forest green. We had our orange hats on or something with the yellow text.
Yeah.
Reminded me of the Masters, which is happening this week. So this is actually going to be a great episode because we were talking about it yesterday on the last episode. Sometimes more things happen in the news and in pop culture on the internet than others. And we got a lot of ammunition in the arsenal for this edition of Nadeshot Knows or whatever the fuck we're calling this, 2 Thieves in a Pod. So I'm excited. Joe, you were out sick yesterday. You missed a good day at the office.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, I was definitely slumping. I was in my own head. You know, I talk about it a lot, and I have a lot of people that come to my chat and ask me for advice. Like, what do you do when you're feeling depressed or can't put one foot in front of the other? And last week was certainly that for me. My brain would not allow me to feel happy or excited or productive. And I'm glad to be out of that spell. You know, I'm not saying everybody's going to be like me where you turn another page every single day that goes by and then one day you magically wake up and you're in a new chapter. But we had a bad week, mental reset. Yesterday was a great day. We had all the executives in the office and we're feeling pretty optimistic for the rest of the year.
Good.
So feel much better. I know you were probably like, oh, Jesus, I got to avoid eye contact with this guy and not talk to him. But I think you're pretty good about giving me space when I clearly need it. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Genuinely, actually. Thank you.
I mean, unfortunately, I spend so much time with you.
Yeah. we do mix business with pleasure for sure.
No, but yeah, it comes in waves, and you of all people, you got a lot going on right now, both personally and professionally.
Oh yeah.
And try to put myself in your shoes and what you're going through and give you the space you need. But
is that Sleepy Joe on the other side of the table? Let's put some energy in that voice, dude.
I don't know what to say
there
to
you
that.
Go. Look at that. Look at the fluctuation in the decibels that you're delivering to this man.
I gotta get better at just being a loud person.
Look into the camera, project. Something I used to say to Embos all the time because he would just come in like we're at church.
Come on, where's the inflection there for you?
Well, I'm talking about a negative thing. I'm not going to just put random fluctuations. I used to say that to him all the time because he would never. Yeah.
So I was really fucking depressed last week.
Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, man, I was staring that barrel straight down.
But
I won.
But no, yeah, for everybody listening, comes in waves. Just got to ride it out, like you said.
You're not wise enough, Joe. You've only been on this earth for 25 years. You can't talk about hard shit.
You're 30.
I know.
5 years is nothing.
A lot can happen in 5 years. I don't know.
True.
Just something about you giving advice makes me uncomfortable.
Well, you wouldn't
never take it.
You wouldn't listen to it either way. So.
Yeah. Where the fuck were we?
All right.
Can we just restart the whole episode? No. All right. The only way is through. Let's go, Joe. I'm going to shut up.
So, top of mind.
So, you sound like fucking Sid the Sloth. So.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of sloth and Spencer, your buddy got a hole-in-one this weekend.
Yeah.
That pissed me off.
Yeah, it pissed me off. No, man, it's crazy. So, there's a course out here called Angeles National. It's in Sunland, California. It's like right above Burbank. From my house, it's only like a 30-minute drive. It's great. And 3 years ago, I got a hole-in-one there. It was on number 12. It's short par 3. It can play anywhere. If the pins in the back be like a 125-yard shot, if pins in the front, it'll be like 110. So it's chip shot. You know, pull out a wedge. If there's wind gusting and that far back pin placement, pull out a 9-iron. Nice fluid swing. But yeah, I got a hole-in-one there 3 years ago. And then, man, I told everybody on the podcast I'm just dialed in and locked in and can only think about golf right now. But it's been awesome for me just to see progress. I shot an 83 at Angeles National. I think it's got like 137, 142 slope rating. It's a pretty difficult course if you're not straight off the tee. And shot an 83 with 8 3-putts. Think about that. I had 8 different holes where I 3-putted. I mean, I was just over the moon. I was striping 185-yard shots straight onto the green. You know, that used to be a distance that was not good for me just because I'd have to pull out like a 5 or a 4 or 3 hybrid, and club gets longer. Dispersion of, variability and difficulty just goes. Anything above 185 for me was always a really big headache. But right now I'm just hitting the ball real straight, and now I just got to go work on some putting. But I digress. I had to get that in there because I'm pretty excited right now. It just feels good to practice and then have it translate over to the course. Like 83 at Angeles, if you played there before with 8 3-putts, pretty happy with that round. But yeah, I hit a 50-degree off number 12 this past Sunday when we were playing, and I put it like 4 feet from the cup, and I landed on the right side, and the whole green like really funnels down, and when the pin's in the front, if you 5 yards left, 5 yards right, it could get really interesting if it kicks the right way. Spencer, second person up, Rich is taking a piss behind us, like just you hear a steady stream in the bushes. Spencer's having the worst day of golf that he's had in a long time. I mean, I think he had like 5 triple bogeys on the front 9 and just miserable. And the hole before that, he hits another bad shot, and I could just tell he's in a place that I was for the last 2 months. And I'm like, dude, Spence, I just need you to hit a couple good shots, man, because I don't like seeing him sad. Spencer, normally 9 times out of 10 is just consistent. He's always happy. You never have to question that. It's a great addition to the group. So when he's not playing well, I'm just begging for him to hit a good shot because I want him to enjoy the Sunday and have fun with everybody. Rich was just on a 3-week honeymoon, so we got the boys back together, got the band back together. And so he steps up to his shot on the next hole. It's flying in the air perfectly, but it's about 5 yards left, like I said. And I'm like, dude, come on, kick of the gods, kick of the gods. They'll tell you the same story. I'm not taking credit for the hole one, by the way, just giving the honest commentary. Kick of the gods. Lands hard, jumps right. It's just tracking the entire time, and it's like everybody, holds their breath for a second. Yeah. And drops straight into the center cup.
Damn.
And that was his second hole in one. We actually have his first one on camera. We were at Greyhawk in Scottsdale, and it was just electric. And it sucks that it happened on a Sunday because we all had to, go to work the next day and couldn't really celebrate it the right way. But man, I've now seen 4 hole-in-ones in person, 2 of which came from me and 2 come from Spencer now. So we got a good thing going here.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Does Rich have any hole-in-ones?
No. His excuse is he hits the ball too high, which actually is somewhat, there's some validity behind it, but it doesn't make any sense. For context, Rich is about like a 1.5 right now, his handicap. I mean, he's just been tearing it up these last couple months, shooting like low 70s, high 60s, and he's just too good not to have a hole-in-one.
Rich is nasty.
Yeah. So it is a running joke that all the people that are worse than him have now doubled up our hole-in-one. So fuck Rich.
While we're on the topic of golf, should we dive into the Masters?
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it a couple episodes ago, but I'm down to just talk high level.
It's Masters week. There's a electricity in the air.
Yeah,
right now.
It's pretty exciting, man. I don't know what has changed for me in the last few years. It's not the full swing doc. It's not the live tour and just the line being drawn in the middle of the professional golf world. I just can't articulate or find a reason why I'm more excited than I've ever been before for the Masters. Maybe this year has just gone by fast, but it's felt slow. And I'm just excited to see everybody at probably the biggest tournament of the year. People in the UK and anywhere outside of the US are arguing that only Americans care about the Masters. I just think that's absolute bullshit. I mean, I know St. Andrews US Open is iconic in its own way, but all 4 majors, no matter how you cut it, are important. But something about the Masters, and maybe it is me being an American and Augusta and the exclusivity behind it and just the history. But I'm so excited. I mean, we get full-blown coverage, no ads, download the Masters app. I mean, yesterday they had an entire feed just to watch the players on the range. You know, they do the practice day where the caddies get to take a shot, or it's unbelievable just what is about to unravel in front of our eyes this weekend. And even in LA, it just feels like golf is ready and back for the summer. It's going to be like 75, maybe even get up to 80 degrees. So I'm just riding this golf high right now, and I'm excited to see who can come out on top. It'd be an interesting dynamic if somebody from Live won.
I was going to say, yeah, you got the Live golfers back in the mix for this. They're eligible for all majors, right?
I'm not sure if it's... So I think the majors, for the most part, are ran independently of the PGA. So I think they're eligible. It just really depends on whether they're welcomed or not. I know that might sound redundant, but I can't say with absolute certainty that they can play in all four. But yeah, we've got Cam Smith, who's looking really good. Brooks Koepka actually has now won on the Live Tour 2 out of his last 6 starts, and he just won this past weekend. So I think there's just a lot of momentum behind the storylines that we might find ourselves in. But I really want Max Homa to win. I think he's been knocking at the door for the last 6 months. He's won, I think, 3 PGA tournaments in the last 6 months, if not 1 or 2 more than that. But I just think it's his time to I just feel like when I look at Max Homa and his swing, he deserves a green jacket. And maybe it won't be this year, but I know he's going to pop that cherry and start winning some majors here soon. But I got Tony Finau hoping to play really well. Cam Smith is obviously, you can't doubt his ability. A lot of people are rooting for Rory. I don't know what it is, but I've just never been a big fan of Rory. I don't hate him. I just have never grown fond of him. And especially too this last year, I think even Tiger Woods, and I think the same school of thought applies to both of them, but I love Tiger Woods. I think Rory's just okay from a personality standpoint. But Rory tries to play the role of the nice guy, and I'm the next Tiger Woods. He's never said that, but he's certainly been the next best thing since Tiger. But you could tell he loves himself, and he lets it bleed out in certain instances. And I think since he tries to be the role model for the PGA, it just makes it that much worse when those small egotistical comments sort of bleed out. And maybe it's not about himself, just the way that he talks about other people.
Yeah.
I could be making all this up in my head, and there might not be any validity behind it, but I'm just okay on Rory, and I'd rather somebody else win the Masters than Rory.
Well, what was that tee situation with him, too? I can't remember the golfer that threw like a tee back at him.
Patrick Reed.
Made a whole fit about it.
Well, I get that in some cases. Basically, it was the date, I think it was on Christmas Eve. Patrick Reed is suing, I think, the media outlets and the PGA. One is for like defamation of character. I think that's against the media. And I think he's suing the PGA for something possibly.
Yeah.
But essentially, Rory got served a subpoena, or maybe it wasn't a subpoena. It was basically like, hey, you got to come in and you got to give a deposition in court.
Yeah.
And Patrick Reed went to go say hello to him on the practice range, and Rory just ignored him.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Reed walked away through his tee. But if somebody, again, without having full context of the actual court documents and filings and what the case is, if he was actually being sued by Patrick Reed, then I get why he stonewalled him. But if he's just, his lawyers are telling him that, we need Rory to come give a statement, I don't know if you can be that upset, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, Max Homa has the 5th best odds to win, 20-1. Scotty Scheffler's favored, 5-1.
I could also see Scotty repeating for sure.
He is on fire. Okay, let's see.
I mean, there's just so many golfers in the field that could potentially win. You got Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, Cam Smith, Rory. My absolute wet dream would be Tiger winning, but who knows what'll happen. Like I said, Tony Finau, Cam Smith, Brooks Koepka, Will Zalatoris. There's a million golfers that I'm missing right now off the top of my head, but it just feels like the field is so competitive, and one of these top 15 guys can win at any given moment. See who has their weekend, their time to shine.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So off of that, that's this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. But going back to last weekend, I wanted to talk about or bring up Sentinels versus 100T.
Yeah,
and there you go. And you went viral a little bit this weekend, not by your own choosing, but
I went viral because Bang was playing hopscotch with map on Sent. No, yeah, it was a funny clip, and I made sure to message just so everybody knows, and whether the players understand it as much as I'd like them to. When I'm doing the reason why I don't do watch parties as much is I react like I'm a fan.
Yeah.
You know, I know that I'm not better than LeBron James at basketball, but if I'm a LeBron James fan and he does something or makes a mistake in a clutch moment of game-defining play in the game that he's playing, I'm going to yell at the TV like I know what LeBron James should have done.
Yeah.
It has no bearing or weight behind whether Bang is not good enough to play on this team or whether I hate him or not or he's going to get dropped. That's just me as a fan, and I wanted to make sure that the players understood that. So a couple hours after the match, I sent them a message like, yo, first game of the season, you guys looked great. 50-50 rounds. You guys could have won that 10 times over. You know that. I don't think you guys need me to tell you that. But I just want it to be clear. Any clips that you see, and I've told the guys in LA Thieves the same thing. Any clips that you might see, this has no bearing on how I feel about you guys as players for the 100 Thieves organization. So if any point it gets to be too much, you tell me. But I'm just a fan more than anything, and I was pretty frustrated in that clip, but it was funny.
Yeah, funny. For context, it was game 3. Series was tied 1-1. We're at match point in overtime, about 3.5 hours into this game, and
we had a 2v2.
2v2. Bang was rotating out, trying to reset on a scent to B main. As he was TPing out, he got caught, just hopping around, not walking, and the clip is Matt. What's
he fucking doing? Jumping around mid-map, playing fucking hopscotch.
Yeah, to which Tarek consoles you.
Well, the thing is, they don't know because right behind him, and he hears it. He hears him rotating away.
Caught him.
What
are you
fucking
doing, bro? Just fucking jumping around.
Potential disaster.
Keep it calm.
Look at him go. Pancadas all the way back over towards Cat. He has his turret back up.
Playing fucking hopscotch.
Potential. Oh, yes, right through the molly. He might die. Oh,
Well, I don't think he was trying to console me. He was trying to talk me off the ledge.
Yeah,
he saw the rage and the pain that he experiences when we duo queue together. Because I can definitely tilt. I don't shy away from tilting.
Yeah,
and so that was it was a tough loss, but it's first match of the season. And what else could you ask for? What more could you ask for? Two of the biggest teams in North America, inaugural match of the franchise era. And it came down the wire on every single map. You know, we went to OT in map 2 and 3. Fractures should have been OT as well. And so I'm just excited for the players to see that they're capable. We got to see Cryo on Jet, and I got everything that I asked for and more. Got to watch a fun match, co-stream, co-watch party with Tarek. We had a great day.
Yeah.
Wish we would have been on the other end of that, all those emotions, but, you know, we're making progress. Yeah. Guys look good.
Yeah, 100%. COD team did well, too. 2-0.
Call of Duty team seems like they're reading the same script as last year. You know, we made it to the finals of the New York, or not the New York, the event before New York. It was a Pro-Am, and we played the subliners in the finals, and we looked unbelievable the entire tournament, came up short in those finals. And then after that, it was just like we hit another gear, and we went to the New York Major and then COD Champs and won 2 events back to back. And the boys look dominant right now. I mean, you can argue that we played the Royal Ravens one match, and they're not or performing as well as the other teams. But we had a great win versus Seattle Surge, and that match should have been 3-0.
Yeah.
So I don't want to knock on wood, but the boys look like they've turned that page and hit that gear, and we'll see what happens, man, for the rest of the season because they look good.
Do they have another weekend of qualifiers and then major? Or?
Think so? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that sounds right.
Okay.
But we're in first place, 6-1 map count, and yeah, it has to be. There has to be another week of matches. So Valorant, Call of Duty, all looking pretty good. I'm optimistic.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of COD 2, Warzone 2 rank play. Season 3 launches April 12th. No confirmation on if ranked is going to launch that day, but just curious to hear your thoughts on ranked finally coming to Warzone.
I mean, look, I'm happy that ranked is finally here. I think the dust is certainly settled on people's interest with Warzone.
Yep.
The problem that they created for themselves, they just dumbed the game down too much, man. They put everybody in bubble wrap. We know this. Bubble boy. There's no skill gap. The meta hasn't changed all that much. You're still using an LMG with this dumbass, old-ass scope. It's just... I think ranked will bring people back for a couple weeks, couple months if they're lucky. I just feel like in the gaming community, once the masses sort of make a decision on what games they're playing, it's hard to bring people back. And in most cases, actually, I've always argued that a competitive ranked playlist is a way to bring stability and to bring a consistent player base either back into the fold or keep them, have that retention. We saw it at Rainbow Six Siege, saw it with Apex, saw it with numerous examples. So the pessimist in me thinks that it's not going to be that big of a deal and people pick it up for a couple weeks and that'll be it. But who knows? Maybe the ranked playlist is actually a lot of fun and it's rewarding and people come back to it. I just don't think that the features of the game are really the issue. I think it's just the fact that Warzone 2 just doesn't have a ton of replayability because every situation is the same. If you're caught out, you got to throw a smoke. And if that smoke doesn't work, you're dead.
Yeah.
So
it's late too. So late. But yeah, this month as well, March, MW2 multiplayer had a higher viewership than Warzone. This is the first time since March of 2020.
Rank play, man.
Yeah.
Rank play.
A lot of people are gone.
No, you go.
So a lot of people are going back to like Caldera and Warzone 1 right now, and Aiden's playing OG Modern Warfare 2, and it's in shambles.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I actually just haven't been thinking that much about Warzone, so I'll just sound like a broken record if we keep going down this rabbit hole. But rank play, Call of Duty, new season starting up in 8 days. Long season. I feel like they might need to shorten it up a little bit if they want players to stay engaged with rank play, and maybe again consider having a rank in between iridescent and top 250 so that there's more to play for. Just because these kids in the top 250 are just grinding 24/7. And if you can't play 5 days a week, and that might even be generous, you might need more than that to keep up with the pace these guys are earning SR. So something needs to change at the back end. They need to pull on some different levers to make it a little bit more attainable or just keep that drive to want to play. Yeah. Because right now I don't have much.
Saw you play Valorant, last week off stream?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good, man. It was good. I you know how I feel about Valorant. I really have to have self-control around not playing that game. I know that might sound crazy, but as soon as I get that itch by popping a couple of headshots in a ranked game, my one-track mind goes from golf to Valorant and 100 Thieves by the wayside, and all I want to do is stream that game 12 hours a day and try to hit Radiant. So I'm trying to keep the engine warm and play some death matches, maybe play a game or two here or there, just to feel like if I wanted to grind it out again, I'm not too far off the beaten path of what I used to be able to do. But the game is always fun, man. It's just it's the best. I love Valorant. I really, really, really do.
I got that Recon Phantom in my shop like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
that brought me back in for a good 5 days. And then I fucking suck at Valorant though, so it just pisses me off. I got to take a break. But Play a little CS here and there, but
I think this is your problem, though, and
gotta pick a
I know
game,
that you
dude.
know, and we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
Joe's issue is that he just plays a plethora of games and doesn't stick to one. So you're never going to get good enough at one unless you really just grind through that annoying phase of getting better. You're going to take a couple punches to the face, and you're going to be frustrated, but you're not ever going to be as good as you want to be if you just keep hopping around.
I played Fortnite, CS, and Valorant all in one night. I was like,
You're casual, bro. There's no other way around it.
I was like, shit, dude. Maybe I do just go back to Warzone and become a casual and play with all these like 40-year-old dudes and
Become a casual, brother. I mean, I've tried to show you the way. You are a casual. I think that's just something you need to come to terms with.
I just don't have that stamina at my desk. Like the way that you can play like 15 hours a day, and every kid I know that is just like nasty at video games, I can just sit there and play 7 days a week for 12 hours. I just can't do it.
I mean, you played 3 different games over the course of like 6 hours the other day. So
Yeah.
I agree with
I just
the
get that
stamina
FOMO. I
aspect.
get that itch to get back out in the world and
Okay.
booze, or I don't know. I don't like to. Well, actually, I don't. We went on a hike on Sunday. I fucking hate going on hikes, but
Who wants to fucking walk with no purpose? Not me.
exactly. Thank you. And this hike, fucking, it's like, oh, we're going to see a waterfall. The experience was awesome. We had a big crew. It's like 20 of us. It was super fun hanging out with everybody, but I show up hungover as hell to this hike, 45 minutes up in Malibu. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. I got to just fucking walk around in the
On
sun.
Sunday, brother?
Yeah.
That to me sounds like peak depression.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
want me to drive to fucking Malibu, walk up a mountain when I don't even like walking to begin with for no reason other than, oh, let's see the sunset.
Yeah.
The fucking sun sets every single day. I don't, you know what I mean? I told
Like, let's
Amy
go
at
get
the
some-
beginning when we first started dating, I'm like, honey. Well, I wasn't calling her honey back then, but I just want to make sure that any red flags that you might see down the road, I want the precedent to be set.
Yeah.
I hate hiking.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't like hiking.
I'm the first, and I've said it before, I'm built for comfort. I'll tell you that. Sunday,
Built for comfort.
horizontal. I'm horizontal on Sundays. That's my therapy, right? That's my reset. Play some games. That's why I didn't drink that much, even though you accused me of having 8 drinks. Because I'm like, I got to get back to the battle station. I got to go play something.
Yeah.
But at this hike, we get there. Turns out there's like 6 creeks you need to fucking cross.
That sounds kind of cool. Oregon Trail, dive dysentery and shit.
Well, with all the rain, I mean, these creeks were like a standing water of like a foot of water. They have to walk.
Whitewater Rapids and shit.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm like, oh shit, like I'm about to have to hike for 2 hours with like sopping wet feet. So I was getting like ripped on because I waited at each creek and I crossed over like trees and shit. It's like jumping
What
over
are you,
it.
Tarzan?
That's what I felt like. But it was good. It was good.
Well, clear. It sounds like it wasn't good. Listen, I understand the allure behind hiking.
Well, I don't want to blow up anybody's spot for putting the hike together, picking the spot.
Yeah, fuck Jack Dunlop.
Yeah.
Hiking, I get it. It's, you know, more times than not, when I get out there and actually do it, I'm happy that I did it. But the mental anguish that I feel preparing for a hike and thinking about the fact that there's no purpose behind this other than get a great views, get some sun, and move my body, you know, that actually should be motivation enough. Like, I'm talking myself out of hating it, but I have to hold the line on the level of misery that I feel. I hate hiking. Fuck hiking, dude. I'm not bending the knee. No. Fuck hiking.
Fuck hiking.
I'm driving to go walk. I have to drive to a hike to then walk up a fucking hill.
Meanwhile, there's like 1,000 other people on the trail as well. And
And then I got a million things on my mind on a Sunday of all days. Fuck hiking.
you get back at like 4 o'clock. The laundry's not done. The groceries aren't purchased. You got to get your time in. You got to get your licks in playing games and catching up on TV. You got work the next day.
I could get behind like a hike on a Wednesday morning before work, just not on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Not on a Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, we got to stop talking about hiking before I not going to say what I want to say. I hate hiking. Fuck it. Fuck it, dude. I don't care how irrational it sounds.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm there with you. Twitter Blue. Did you lose your check mark?
No, I pay for Twitter Blue. Here's my problem.
Great. Same.
You got everybody, LeBron James, I'm not paying $8 a month. Brother, what? I mean, I've seen so many celebrities talk about, I don't need the check mark. I'm not paying. Do you know how many things that these people pay for? They got money leaving their account every day, and they don't even know what the fuck they're subscribed to.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I genuinely, it might not make sense coming from me. I'm not trying to act like I'm in the trenches working at McDonald's still, but even if I were then, where I am today, on that same trajectory, I would still be paying for Twitter. I mean, I've literally had the best app in my pocket for free for the last 2009, 14 years. Give or take.
Carry the 1, subtract 3. Yep.
Nice job. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, dude, if they told me I had to pay $8 a month to use Twitter, I would still do it.
Mm-hmm.
The verification badge, from the optics standpoint, I actually don't really care all that much, but I do somewhat like the For You page. And I know that they were going to restrict For You page access if you didn't have Twitter Blue. $8, man. I mean, if a regular Joe is like, I don't want to pay that, I don't care about Twitter, now fine. But I don't need a bunch of rich celebrities taking a stand out of principle like, I'm not paying for this. Shut the fuck up, dude, please.
Yeah.
If you're not going to pay for it, then just don't say anything. I don't know. That sounds like pretty brash. Sometimes on podcasts, if I have a strong feeling, I like to look at both sides. But to me, there's just no validity behind seeing LeBron James say, I'm not going to pay for Twitter. Like, brother, fuck off, dude. You've been on a Supermax for 2 decades.
Yeah. It's like I'm not paying the $8 for Twitter Blue, but I'll certainly fly my private jet. And we won't have to worry about like carbon emissions or some shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be like, when you take a stand on one thing, it's like,
yeah, I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole there. I don't think it's as black and white, but I agree. I just think the whole thing is silly. I'll pay $8. If you don't want to pay $8, fine. I don't care, but
yeah,
I don't need to hear about it.
Yeah.
I just think everybody's so angry about it is just wasted energy.
Yeah. I love it. I didn't have a blue check mark. Now I have a blue check mark.
Brother, I think it makes the Twitter experience better. If somebody's willing to pay $8 a month, and there's definitely fallacies in this logic, but that's how I feel. So I'll put my flag on the ground and stand by it. If somebody's willing to pay $8 a month to use this app, to me, that means like 9 times out of 10, they're somebody that actually cares about the opinions flying around and the people they follow. They actually care about what those people are doing and what's happening in their life. And so I just think it gives more validity behind the community that you build around yourself, that you're not going to have to deal with bots and spam and trolls. Like if somebody wants to pay $8 for 1 month to get on a burner account and fuck with me, they deserve to fuck with me. It's a lot of effort and time wasted. But the fact that they're making or at least putting hurdles in the system to make it harder to act like a fucking moron on Twitter, that enough to me is it's worth its weight in gold.
Are you seeing a lot less bots in your replies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Twitter experience has been streamlined to like real people, real thoughts, real opinions, less negativity. The changes that Elon has made, or just the things that have happened to Twitter in the last couple of months, I think have been great.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Elon, but I don't mind there being some sense of a paywall to make everybody's experience better.
Mm-hmm. I'll put it on the tape. I'm a big Elon guy. So, like the logic he has behind it, everybody's quick to, criticize him for a lot of ancillary things not related to him as a businessman, and I get that, but the guy's progressing the human race, and helping to evolve it. So, yeah,
Elon said some wild shit over the years, but I'm sort of in the same camp. It's pretty amazing to have like a multi-billionaire and the head of Twitter in the trenches every single day. Barring, again, some of the wild shit that he says in general, like you said, this guy is doing everything he can to push the human race further.
Yeah.
whether that might sound dramatic or too whimsical. That's how I feel.
He's trying to get us to Mars.
Yeah, I fuck with Elon Musk.
Also, you got people forget, I feel like, the context of the fact that like Elon is not just like an average person. Like his brain doesn't function like the average human. Like he's a bit off for sure. Like, but you have to be to do what he's doing. So
I agree with that. Definitely needs to be a change in the everyday recipe of the way his mind works for you to spend $44 billion on Twitter, SpaceX, Tesla,
and bring a sink in there.
Boring company. I mean, the motherfucker's literally building tunnels under the earth. It's like, who wouldn't want like a mad scientist who has some sense of morality trying to make, whether it's for profit or not, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Give me the chip inside my brain, dude. I'm watching a monkey play Pong with his mind. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I'm on his side. Come on. To me, there's no other way to look at it. And it's like people, talk about. I talked about this. Look, I'm not sitting here, clap my hands, bending my knee, and bending over to praise billionaires, but I saw all this shit with the Starbucks CEO. You see any of that?
Mm-mm.
He got it up in front of Congress or some government body and was talking about the minimum wage threshold for Starbucks employees. And he was getting upset because they kept calling him a billionaire. Like, you don't know what, yada, yada, yada. But it was actually pretty cold, in my opinion. You guys keep calling me a billionaire, but I grew up in federally funded like housing. Mm-hmm. I am the definition of self-made in America. This is the American dream. And now you wouldn't have given a fuck about me my entire life unless I made it to where I'm at today. And now you're telling me that I'm out of touch and I'm an eccentric billionaire that is just climbing over the masses to get ahead. I will never, in any capacity, fault somebody for earning as much money as they can, especially, and that's probably the most important, especially somebody who comes from nothing.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, everybody's trying to do it. Everybody, for the most part, wants to do it, and some get lucky enough to find themselves in that situation. I'm not going to get into the the morality behind minimum wage. $17.50. With inflation and how this generation can't afford homes and can't afford anything. I get that. Me talking about making a minimum wage for 5 years at McDonald's, I was making $7.30 an hour. But I knew what that job was. I mean, I'm working at fucking McDonald's. Like, it doesn't take a level of expertise or any training or any background to be able to do that job. So when I look back on it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got a 50-cent raise like once a year. This is a temporary career for me. Now, if you're going to Starbucks to work there for the rest of your life, I can understand, all right, maybe the different levels of pay need to change because it is hard work. I mean, I know people who don't want to talk about all the things that I had just laid out, the fact that you don't need experience, yada, 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 but you are doing a lot. Mm-hmm. But in some cases, I think, like, maybe you just picked the wrong job then. I mean, there's plenty of places where you can make that minimum wage or $17.50 and probably work not as hard.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. But, I think you get what you give. And at the end of the day, a job at Starbucks is replaceable by the next person that brings in an application. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of weight behind that entire conversation, so I'm not sitting here taking a side, but certainly for the billionaire aspect, the guy made it from nothing. My fucking hat's off, dude. I tip the cap.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible. So
100%.
Who knows, man? We live in a capitalistic society.
Everybody's trying, You can't fault the guy that makes it happen.
Yeah, this conversation can compound in so many ways. So
yeah.
I'm not picking a side here, but there's just certain things that Man,
Everybody's
everybody has to try to make it for themselves, and not everybody's going to make it. Everybody gets lucky, or somebody's got different passions than others. They don't want to live a lifestyle where they have to find out a way to make all that money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everybody's just angry these days.
Everybody is angry.
Yeah.
And I certainly understand why. It feels like there's chaos going on around us 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought it would go away in some instance, but the last 3 months have just been wild. I mean, the economy, international politics at play, Russia, China, Brazil, and Japan, and people are eradicating the U.S. dollar from all their trade transactions, and everybody's talking about World War III, and we need to halt AI because it's going to become sentient. And I feel like every time I think we're going to have a little bit of stability, some crazy shit just comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
The era of information.
It's the era of information, but I feel like it'd be hard pressed to ask somebody who was our age or around 20s, 30s. I feel like aside from social media, and maybe you would have been a little bit more guarded and disassociated from all the turmoil that's happening around the world, because you'd have to read the newspaper or watch the news, and nobody was on a phone, so you have separation there. But I feel like every era of human beings, there's just been chaos.
Yeah.
And it just feels like there's more so now than ever because we're so closely viewing it. You open your phone because you have to, you're programmed, you're hardwired that way. You just can't avoid how much how many terrible things are happening around the world.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You just have more visibility to it. So the stakes just feel higher and higher, but I'm sure everybody in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, going back and all the way as far as you want, there's always like some existential crisis happening.
Yeah. Golden age fallacy. Everybody wishes they could live in a different era, thinking it's better when it's not. But
grass is always greener, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, Donald Trump's arraignment is today as well.
Yeah.
In New York. People are climbing out of the woodwork for that on both sides. Andrew Tate released from prison.
I saw that
as well. It's so curious to me, like how tactical he is, and I think to myself, I'm like, I'm very curious to see what's gonna come out next for him, like coming out of prison, because it seems like everything that happens, like I guess you could say the propaganda behind it, but everything feels like it's really compiling upon itself, like compiling. Jesus Christ. Everything he's doing is folding into things he's been saying and preaching. And I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on the whole situation, because I feel like there's like a new act about to come for Andrew Tate, and I have no idea how it's going to go.
I don't know what's next. I have no idea. I mean, there are certainly things that have unfolded in the last year around Andrew Tate, some that I agree with, some that I don't. Mm-hmm. I think that there actually is some validity behind the things that he says, but the problem is they're so extreme that it's hard to derive like any sense of morality behind what he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm not an Andrew Tate stan. I'm not sitting here thinking he's like a deity, but I do think in a world where everybody has gotten pretty soft and, we have to really walk on pins and needles and eggshells because we don't want to offend anybody. I just think that we're rewiring how we act, the things that we say and the things that we do and how we treat each other out of fear of how we'll be judged for not doing the thing that they want or don't want us to do. Mm-hmm. It's really just, I think the things that resonate with me are just like the cancel culture shit. It's human beings are not perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. This has nothing to do with Andrew Tate. It's more so just the how aggressive everybody is on the internet. You take one misstep and it's like you've got a witch hunt trying to attack who you are, everything you've done up until this point, and everything that you're going to be in the future.
Yeah.
So I guess in some ways I sort of associate Andrew Tate with breaking down these walls that we've built in the last 10 years on the internet about what the world should be like. And again, some of those things resonate with me, but just the aggressive stances that he has and some of the things and the ways that he's depicted women, I think are wildly out of touch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to sit here and support or not support just because there's, again, it's, I wouldn't say empathy, but it's the ability to be self-aware enough to know that more times than not, if there's a public figure that has opinions, it just seems like you're either on one side or the other, when I don't think it's black and white. And I think you need to be able to sit back and sort of extract the things that they're trying to say, aside from the things that they're, just saying and meaning at face value, if that makes sense. So I don't know what's coming from Andrew Tate. I actually thought the video of him just walking around with a cigar with the downlighting, I thought that shit was hard as fuck. But then people were like, this guy's a fucking loser, bro. He gets out of jail and just sitting there smoking a cigar thinking he's cool as fuck. I don't know. I just thought, I'm like, oh shit.
What do you think? What do you think 2 months in solitary confinement would do to you? What would the Nadeshot that comes out of that be like?
Brother, I would have lost my mind for sure. For sure. I mean,
just you and your thoughts for 2 months?
I would have came out talking to myself.
Yeah.
I would have had to start talking out loud. But I can't, in a Romanian prison.
You fallen in love with the wall or something?
Brother, I don't even want to put myself in a position to try to understand what would happen to my mental state if I was in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know enough about the Trump situation to speak on it.
Yeah, me either.
Trump, again, is one of those people where there's certain things that he says and does that I agree with, but then there's just like a fucking laundry list as long as the Bible and the dictionary combined that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
You know, I certainly think the bravado and the ability to look and feel like a leader, he certainly outclasses Joe Biden. But then he just says the most ignorant shit that makes America look like we're fucking morons.
Yeah. Where
I'm like, dude, no matter what, we're never going to get the best out of somebody, just because I think half the political race, you're not, even when you're in office, you're not doing things, at least in my mind, most politicians, they're not doing things because they believe in it. They're doing it because they need to please the voters that are a part of this political party to make it seem as if they're doing a job for them. But in my mind, it's like, how much impact can you have on a country in 4 fucking years, brother? And the second 2 years of your term, you're just pandering for votes. Like, you're already on a political march again to try to rally around for your next term. So I just think the political party, and without having a great sense for how politics actually work, I just think anybody that signs up to be a politician, there's some diamonds in the rough for sure that are doing it for the right reasons to better this country and the lives of the American people. But at the end of the day, I think they're all just power hungry, narcissistic, and it's like, that's why we don't have our best and brightest, the smartest people that probably live in the U.S. as politicians, because they know it's like a zero-sum game. What are you going to get out of it?
Yeah.
You're going to get half the country to hate you. You might make some money, but if you're smart enough, you go damn sure make way exponentially more money in a private sector or industry. So I just don't trust politicians in general.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy on TikTok though, who's been just like really open and honest and like very articulate and talking about both sides. I think he's like a representative from somewhere on the East Coast. I like the cut of your jib, brother. I just need somebody to act like a normal fucking human being, dude.
Yeah, like unbiased news.
Yeah, like a lot of the science behind like what the Democrats want, around climate change and my body, my choice, dude. I'm all in. Yeah, I'm all in on most of those things, but then there's just shit around the Republicans that they do that I'm like, some of the stuff behind what you're saying with like taxes and I don't even know. I just think it's so fucking stupid. There's so many things I agree with on both sides, and instead it's just two people fighting against both sides of all the things, and there's no perfect answer.
Yeah.
I fucking hate politics.
I do too. It's what's even worse about politics is that every parent I know will watch one form of cable news or another, and every conversation at the dinner table is about politics. Especially in my house, it got to the point where I just get up from the dinner table and go lay on the couch. Be like, Joe, you want to maybe engage with the family? I'm like, are you done talking about what you all watched on Fox News and CNN today? Can we have a normal conversation again, please?
Yeah. I thankfully my household isn't. I don't have to deal with that as much. I kind of just stay out of it, and that's goes against all of what democracy actually is, because if I can sit here and say I have no impact on this vote or what's going to happen, then there's probably tens of, if not hundreds of millions of people that feel the same way, so nothing's ever going to get done. I don't know, man. I got too much shit to deal with in my normal life to try to be the voice of change and out protesting in the streets. Man, maybe that makes me a piece of shit, but again, self-preservation.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck about you and your problems except for the people that you hold closely in your life, and those are the problems that I need to fix.
Yeah.
That is my responsibility as the head of the household, and a partnership with my fiance and the kids that we're going to have. And maybe I should be in the streets marching for a better future for my children, but I got to make sure there's a roof over their head, and whatever they want to do in their life, they're going to have the ability to do. So that's all I care about.
Could go on that march, but I got a really good hike waiting for me that I need to get to.
Good one, Joe.
Yeah. All right.
You need a laugh track in the background on that one.
Laugh track, all my own jokes.
Fucking hell. Not many of them.
Okay. Well, to pivot off of all that's going wrong in the world,
Really
that I don't
kicking
feel
off this Tuesday the right way.
equipped to talk about.
Yeah, let's just talk about entertainment, because we are not fucking capable of understanding the world as we should.
Nadeshot knows your number one outlet for political news commentary.
Brother,
Rename it
this is a setup,
InfoWars.
dude. This entire episode's an ambush.
The aliens are out to get us. Let me tell you.
Guys, let me just be abundantly clear. I'm a fucking idiot, and I know this.
Yeah, same.
And I'm comfortable with that. I know breathing and not fine dining. I know breathing and gaming. You want to talk about how a ranking system will impact a video game? Dude, I'm your fucking guy.
You want to talk about the chicken tender spots in Los Angeles? Come talk to me.
Yeah. Brother, the village idiots, dude. And ignorance is bliss, man. I keep myself out of it.
It is. It really is, especially in politics. But, okay, back to entertainment. Did you watch Creed yet?
I did see Creed 3.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
So I need to look up this movie, because I swear to God, the protagonist and antagonist at the same time, the new character they introduced, I don't want to spoil anything.
It's been a couple weeks. We can spoil.
Brother, I'm not even kidding. This guy's facial expressions the entire time stole from the movie Warrior with Tom Hardy.
I was going to say Jonathan Majors, who also is now in a cancellation spat. Domestic abuse charges levied against him. That aside, he's exactly like Tom Hardy in Warrior.
Bro, the same look on his face. You know how Tom Hardy in Warrior, if you guys haven't seen, it's about two brothers. One was a Marine, the other one's a school teacher, and they signed up for this UFC fight to win $1 million. Tom Hardy walks around with a crinkle in his forehead with a unassuming look, or not an unassuming look, just he's always nervous and got an eye out. He got out of prison. Yeah. But I'm telling you, bro, his mannerisms, if we got that guy in a lie detector test, there is no way he doesn't come out of it with some sort of connection to Warrior, because
100%.
It's the dynamic between the two is it's strikingly similar.
Yeah.
And how he acts walking around, man, I hope that clicks with somebody else, because it's the first thing I said to my buddy Spencer and Haley, and they had never seen it before. But I thought the script was actually really good. I mean, you could tell where it was going to go, but I still had fun watching it unfold. Michael B. Jordan, I think he directed it. Yeah. And you could definitely tell some of the fight sequences that there was like anime inspiration behind it.
Yeah.
He's a big Naruto fan, and
So the whole thing was basically just Naruto.
I loved it. I mean, there were certain things that I would have changed, but in general, I thought it was a great third addition to the franchise, and I thought it was a fun watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the first like half was good, and then it really just unraveled for me after that. Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining. It was an entertaining watch, but I certainly wouldn't say that I liked it because.
All right, well,
yeah, I mean,
I loved it.
If anything, it made me hate Creed, like the character, like Adonis Creed. I was like, after watching, I'm like, this guy's kind of just like a huge piece of shit. Like,
I will say, I agree with certain aspects of what you're saying. It's like this is it's 5 years later down the road, 6 years later down the road, and this guy still hasn't figured out that he has a short temper and doesn't know how to control it. Like, how many times could you be mad at yourself for making the same mistakes over and over again?
Yeah. And it's like the whole movie, I felt like Michael B. Jordan was just portraying his own life, like going to album release parties. He's dressed phenomenally, very good looking, just running around Hollywood. But then his like best friend, that aside, it's like the best antagonist you get is like a 40-year-old that comes out of jail and then immediately like fights cheaply, gets the belt, and then that's like the main antagonist for the entire thing.
I get what you're saying, but I still think it was fun to watch. I liked Creed 3, but I understand there's just so many holes in that script. Like, you could tell they just pulled it out of thin air for the third one, but it was cohesive enough to where I didn't have to introspectively sit here and pick it apart. Yeah. I think you sort of know what you're getting yourself into when you watch the third edition of any movie that, especially this franchise. I loved it. I love Michael B. Jordan. Aside from this guy stealing the whole flow of Warrior, I thought, what's his name?
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors. I thought he was fucking awesome in that
movie. He was
movie.
Great.
I mean, the story of this guy getting out of prison, he was a better boxer than Michael B. Jordan in the beginning, and they were basically brothers. I thought it was cool. I'm a sucker, though, for like a setup like that. Mm-hmm. I love the brother dynamic, and I thought it was great. But I get where you're coming from.
The Stephen A. Smith part was great, though.
Stephen A. Smith was cool.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I remember the whole theater was laughing when he's like in there acting, just being himself. It was great. But okay, Creed, mixed review on this desk. John Wick 4, did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet. We're not talking about it.
God damn it. Okay.
I watched Shrinking on Apple TV. That was really good.
Did you watch the Tetris movie?
Watched the Tetris movie. I thought that was an awesome watch.
That was great. Taron Egerton was awesome.
Yeah, he's the fucking man. He's the fucking man.
Yeah.
I just love him to death. I got to still see Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm going to go see this weekend, I think.
Same.
It's got great reviews.
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, as you should be. It's got incredible reviews.
It does.
And we had a great partnership promoting the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's like a win-win scenario. Mm-hmm. People love the movie. We got to help, be a sounding or a microphone, fucking speaker. What is this thing? A megaphone.
Megaphone.
Just getting the masses to watch it. Chris Pine, dude. I'd fuck Chris Pine right now if he were here. I'd let him fuck me. I love Chris Pine.
Chris Pine's awesome.
Dude, Chris Pine is the fucking man. I stand by it. I think the first two Star Trek movies were unbelievable. People don't talk about them enough.
Star Trek Beyond, terrible. Bro. Why take a sick movie in space and put it on the ground for 2.5 hours? Don't know.
Chris Pine is the fucking man. I love him so much, dude. I hope he's not a piece of shit in real life. I doubt he is. There's just no way.
Just macho. Just so macho.
Oh.
Who are like your top 3 favorite actors, would you say?
Oh, we can't do that. Brad Pitt.
We can't do that, but we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that.
Man, that's a tough one for me. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. Oh, I fucking love Brad Pitt. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt,
and Brad Pitt, and then Chris Pine.
Brad Pitt, Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Dude, just the one... Him in Interstellar will always just get me. Lincoln Lawyer, fucking... what was the... True Detective?
He was great in True Detective.
And, man...
Tarsify Blackout, you take the stick.
Slick.
Slick.
Why don't we bring that? I don't know, brother. I would say Matthew McConaughey. Brad Pitt, and I'm just picking 2 right now.
Okay.
Let me think about that. We'll talk about it on the next episode.
Okay.
I'm not even going to ask you. Get your answers. Get them ready to go. We'll talk about it in the next episode.
Top 3 favorite movies.
No, we can't fucking help, brother. There's too many things happening in my head for me to just pull out movies.
I got those ready.
We can't just sit here and talk about movies every time. Is there anything else that you have on this doc? Because I feel like we've been going. I mean, I don't want to stop the podcast, but you know what I don't think enough people talked about was Bronny James' performance in the McDonald's All-American
I forgot to bring
game.
that up last week.
Bro,
and
5
the dunk
threes,
contest.
Dunk contest.
He looked good.
Everybody just gets so mad at Bleacher Report and House of Highlights and all these social accounts for posting Bronny James. I'm like, guys, how many fucking times do I have to read the comments and say, oh, they wouldn't be posting this if it wasn't LeBron James' son? Yeah, hey, no shit.
Yeah.
But it's LeBron James' son, and
the whole
it turns
point.
out that he's becoming like an unbelievable basketball player.
He's nasty.
You think LeBron James just paying scouts under the table to make him a 5-star prospect and say he's like a top 10 in his class?
Yeah.
I mean, Buddy literally pulled up to the All-American game, dropped 5 dimes, bottom of the net, and then nobody wanted to talk about it. I thought it was unbelievable. Like, it was a great performance. He looked like a stellar player.
I'm looking up his stats right now. 15 points on 5 of 8 shooting, all from behind the arc. Also the dunk contest too. He's like 6'2". He's got crazy ups.
He's got crazy mounts.
Dude, he looked insane.
I'm pulling for Bronny James, dude.
100%.
You know, it's funny. It's just like all these old men just mad because of his name, but
Yeah.
that motherfucker didn't ask for that.
No.
He's just living his life. And
Also-
it turns out he's a really good player. I hope he makes his NBA and he's a superstar.
Yeah.
Just so all these fucking people could eat their words. He's a kid, man.
Credit to LeBron too. Everybody's giving him flack for, he tweeted it. He's like, oh man, like Bronny's way better than a bunch of these kids watching talking about like an NBA game. And everyone's like, oh, you're putting so much pressure on him, all this stuff. But I think if you're Bronny, with all the pressure on the world, like having your dad support and how he's like handled the situation up to this point, I don't think there's anything more valuable for him or protecting than having the support of his dad. Yeah, get in there.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Look, we talked about LeBron James' social media a couple episodes back.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing a father involved in his son's life, and it's cool to see. But I do think that there's certain things that he could just keep off the internet. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
at a certain point, I start to question what his intention actually is, because say all those things. I'm sure he tells Bronny all of those things, but not everything needs to be shared. I don't know. I just think I have a sour taste in my mouth around some of the antics that LeBron gets into off the court, but I think he's a fucking unbelievable player. I think he's done an amazing job of being a role model, never been a part of a scandal. There's so many reasons why I love LeBron James, and there's just a few things that I don't like. But yeah, like making a tweet like, Bronny's better than some of these guys in the NBA. Maybe we keep that one in the drafts. Like, I don't know. But I'm not a father. I don't know what it feels like. So have at it.
Mm-hmm. Not a billionaire, but another example. Big public figure. I think he might. Oh, he's close to being a billionaire if he's not, but.
LeBron James. LeBron James.
What else you got rattling around?
Just want to golf, dude.
Yeah.
Tanner in here. He's going to come film for me on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We got new golf polos coming out. It's a little bit of a supply drop, a care package, if you will, to hold people over for this big grand plan that we have for 100 Thieves Golf. But I'm excited, man. I'm just excited to actually get a full cohesive round of golf on YouTube where I know that I'm playing well. And if I don't play well, so be it. But I know that I have given myself the best opportunity to play the best that I can through the practice and time spent investing in my swing. So who knows, man? We got a tournament on Saturday. I'm playing in a shamble, which is basically a scramble, but instead of each playing off the same ball, you only do that off the tee. You pick the best tee shot, and then you play your own ball, and handicaps are in play. I don't think we'll win the net, but there's a chance we can win gross.
Yeah.
Our handicaps are too low. It fucking sucks for me because I had like 3 months of great golf where I was shooting in the low 80s and broke 80 once, and it shot my handicap down to an 8.2. And then, as I've said many times on the podcast, I was shooting like mid 90s, low 90s for like 2 months. Just didn't know what the fuck was going on with my body and my swing.
Yeah.
But we recalibrated now, and like I said, I shot an 83 with 8-3 putts the other day. Played the same course 2 days prior to that. Shot 85 with like 7 balls lost off the tee. So my irons are dialed. I figured out my driver. Now I just need to learn how to putt. I don't know. I watched from like 6 p.m. last night until 9. I was sitting on this perfect putting practice mat that I bought way back in the day, but it's been rolled up in my garage with a bunch of miscellaneous stuff on top of it. So when I unrolled it, it's got all these bumps, and Haley's tried to put it in like hard boxes or heavy boxes on it to get rid of the wrinkles. And so I don't.
Steam that thing.
Huh?
Just steam it.
I know. We're trying to. We got to get an iron. Actually, I don't know if a steam would get rid of because the material's so thick. And I asked ChatGPT, how do I get the wrinkles out of this thing? Something about standing over a ball when I'm putting, and I got to wait for my boy Nick, who's been giving me lessons, to get back to actually just talk to me in person about the putting stroke, because half the time when I'm standing over a ball, I think I'm aiming straight. My aim is off. I'm either like half a cup out to the left, half a cup out to the right, and I just don't get it. I'm like, how could I be standing over the ball with full conviction, 100%, that I'm lining up a straight putt, and it's just not? And then if you can't get the ball to go straight off the club to foul that line, the line which is already off, I'm basically giving myself just terrible, terrible odds to even make a putt.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what to do. I bought some training aids that are going to come here. I know people are pretty split down the middle about whether training aids actually help. For putting, a lot of people say you just put Tiger's drill 2 tees on each side of the club head, basically build a gate, and you don't give yourself a lot of room for error so that club face has to come through square. So I think I'm going to go to an actual range where there's a flat putting surface, just to try to work, because my speed is actually fine. It's really just making sure I have the right line. And once I get putting down, man, I'm just feeling pretty optimistic.
Got a lot of golf coming up too.
I got a lot of golf coming up. I'm going to Bandon Dunes in May. This was a trip that one of my buddies asked me to go on 2 years ago. So it's finally here. Then I got my bachelor party. We're going to play golf in Scottsdale. I'm flying out my brother, my uncle, my dad. It's going to be fucking awesome with all the groomsmen. Can't wait. Playing Augusta at some point. Playing potentially in the AT&T Byron Nelson Pro-Am. So in the next 5 months, I want to put myself in a place where I'm equipped with the confidence when I step onto the tee, no matter what level of pressure there is, that I know I can play well, and all I got to do is go and execute. And slowly but surely through the practice and the reps that I'm putting in, I'm eliminating any guessing around what should I actually feel like when I start my downswing. How do I sequence properly? None of that is floating around in my head. I know that I need to let my left arm drop, keep my shoulders squared away in the back, let these arms fucking rocket through. And dude, I'm fucking stoked. I'm stoked that Tanner asked and volunteered to record for me.
You want me on B cam? You want me on that B cam out there?
You're gonna let me have to think about that one. So yeah, a lot of great golf coming up, and I'm really gonna try my best to make sure it sees the daylight on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've got all the microphones I need. I've got the entire setup that you watch when Good is recording, or when Touche tees off the video he just uploaded, or anybody else that has high quality golf videos. There's no reason why I should not be recording it. And now that my swing looks better aesthetically and I can execute better, I'm fired up. It's going to be a good couple weeks, good couple months.
Great.
So that's really all I've been thinking about.
Okay.
I think this has been a longer episode. I think we can call it there.
Yeah, how long have we been going for?
Probably like an hour 20.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
I would ask you more questions, but we should probably put a bow on this. Wrap it up.
What kind of questions?
I don't know.
What happens if this goes for like an hour 40? What's so bad about that?
Well, I just feel bad. We have 5 employees
yeah.
of 100 Thieves just held hostage in here. You guys can leave at any point.
Now they know how I feel every day.
I'm so sorry that... You want to go work at Starbucks, dude?
Yeah. Can't wait for the comments to be like, this kid, get him off the desk. Like, he needs to be slapped, doesn't deserve it. Fire him up.
I didn't say it, dude.
Fire him up.
No. I don't know. I just... sometimes I feel bad that I talk so much, but that was the original plan for this podcast anyways. There's definitely episodes we're going to talk more, but I appreciate the questions.
No, that's what it's about.
Look at us.
I'm also, as a fan, curious to hear your takes on these things.
We talked about a lot of things today that have very aggressive social implications. So at the end of the day, man, I truly don't wish ill will on anybody or any groups of people, whether it's a political party or a different background than what I am. I just try to give you guys everything that I think about at face value, and some things you're going to agree with, some things you won't. But that's the beautiful thing about having a perspective with empathy and self-awareness. Like, I'm not at each other's necks for you feeling this way.
Yeah.
I just think there needs to be more dialogue back and forth rather than I hate you because of this opinion.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Let's have like a normal, constructive conversation.
Just more rational discourse.
Yeah, but
out on the internet.
The farther down a conversation you go, people start getting passive aggressive, and then that passive aggressiveness elicits a more aggressive reply. I just think that a lot of people aren't equipped to actually communicate in a mature, responsible, and productive way.
Agreed.
Half the arguments I see on the internet are just because of the tone and way of saying things that make people want to have a knee-jerk reaction and come at you 10 times harder.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, I was talking to somebody the other day and about the podcast in general, and my answer to them in terms of just like the purpose of it was like, we need, like, with so much negativity and everything going on, like, these kids need to be, you know, I don't know if we're the best at arming them, but they need to be armed with like rational thought and discussion around, like, you know, as you said, we're going to talk about whatever. So like relatively sensitive topics so that they can just better absorb it, you know?
Yeah.
So regardless,
we're definitely not going to be the ones to arm you guys with responsible conversation, but I think we do a decent job. I'm happy when I walk out of the room that we don't have to tell the production team like, hey, you should cut that, because I don't think there's anything that we said that was too far out of place or too off the beaten path of being rational and being mature.
Just two guys chopping it up.
Donald Trump paying off Stormy Daniels to not talk about his dick. Like, are we really... This is where we draw the line with politicians. Like, there's got to be much worse things that have been done. We're like, you know what? I don't know beyond the Stormy Daniels stuff what Donald Trump has done. So fuck me, right? Like, I definitely should. Well, my taxpayer dollars do this whole circus. Come on.
WrestleMania, him and Vince McMahon. WrestleMania this weekend. Oh, that's another thing. We don't have to talk about it, but
yeah, let's call it
WWE. Selling a WME.
Yeah, $9 billion.
Must be nice.
I thought the Saudis were going to buy the WWE, but Endeavor must have came back at the 11th hour with a bigger offer. They got a pretty strong portfolio. UFC, WWE, among all the other things that they do.
The Vince McMahon memes were great, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I don't know. I used to love WWF when I was a kid. Fucking Goldberg. Fucking Undertaker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you tuning in. This is a good episode. We'll be back for another edition of Two Thieves in a Pod. Nadeshot knows, or whatever the fuck we're calling this. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in. And YouTube, we'll see you fudging later. Goodbye.